Welcome to another episode of Geared Science. My name is Brian, and on this episode, we met with my friend Patrick Murphy to go over his 1948 pan shovel chopper. This thing comes with an incredible story. He bought an old crummy bike, loved it, rode the hell out of it, and then got hit by a car, which prompted him to build a way better bike than before. We'd love to have you check this out, but before you do, please like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear what you think. And thanks for watching.
My name is Patrick Murphy, and this is my 1948 Harley-Davidson pan shovel chopper. Actually, one of my good friends, Zach Hitman, he saw a listing for the sidecar of the bike, not the actual bike itself. It took a while convincing, but Zach was able to get him to sell the bike. So like 2 or 3 years ago, I went and bought the bike, and it was like a classic 70s chopper. And then I brought it back, built it once, got smoked by a car, and then built it again. So that's why it's in the state that it is now. I rode it for like 2 months, and I rode it like every single day for 2 months, and then I just got absolutely smacked by a car downtown Milwaukee. I was riding with one of my friends, Johnny Milwaukee. It was like a Sunday afternoon. We were just riding around, doing our thing, so we just split off, and I'm like, no, I kind of like riding through downtown. Like, it's fun to ride a chopper through downtown. And then I was just riding down on water, and then going through the intersection right in front of the public market, and someone was coming north up on Water Street towards me, and I just saw them kind of nose out, and you know, like people nose out at intersections and they stop. She nosed out and just kept going, and so she just smacked the backside of my bike. It flipped. I scorpioned over top of it. I wrapped around a telephone pole, and then I just laid on my back. And I remember right before I got hit, I was like, this is happening. Like, this is really happening. I'm about to get nailed. And then I lay on the curb, and I'm like, I don't think I'm dead. Like, I don't think I'm dead. And then right away, a girl comes running up, and she's like, don't move. And I'm like, all right, easy enough. I won't move. And then the first thing I asked her, I was like, are my teeth fucked up? Because my dad's a dentist, and that's what he always told me. And she's like, no, your teeth look great. I was like, thank God.
Had that crash not happened, do you think you would have built this bike like this?
No, absolutely not. I just like wouldn't have had the reason or like, I guess, resources to do it. So it was really like, that was the catalyst for then pushing me to go, all right, well, I have a blank canvas now. I might as well just do exactly what I wanted to do. Oh, I had to wait a long time before I could even take anything apart, just because, you know, I didn't know if the insurance company needed to come take a look at anything. They told me to take it to a dealership and get it quoted on how much it would take to repair it. And I'm like, I don't think they're gonna be able to do that. After that I was starting to plan what I wanted to do. So I got Photoshop, and that's that file I sent you. So I kind of doodled up like these numbers with like this exposed fin section and like this paint. I only wear black, and I kind of like just like simple black stuff. So I just one day just scribbled all these lines in the Photoshop file, just kind of like some thick, heavy pinstripe lines basically. And I really liked that. So that's kind of what I ended up sticking with. On this, the only thing that is the same is the motor, transmission, and then this front end. I think everything else is like brand new. Either I made it or bought it. It was destroyed. It was also just like I said, the first bike was a real turd. It was just kind of like a crusty old chopper. I didn't really want to reuse a lot of those parts because they were just kind of like crusty, crummy, yucky, gross parts. So it just didn't really fit the look and feel of this one. And then also they were just like so destroyed. So the first thing I did was actually buy a frame. I knew my frame was just roached, and unless I wanted to completely rebuild the whole thing, I was just gonna have to get a new frame. That was the easiest thing to do. I had no idea what I was buying. I literally knew nothing. Josh taught me a lot about it after I bought it. He pointed out that the cradle itself was an original like 70s shovelhead cradle of a frame. And then everything else aside from the cradle was just grafted in by whoever built this frame back in the day. So there was like really obvious marks here and here that just showed that all this stuff was just like custom random things chucked in there back in the day. I knew I wanted to do like a molded in bike, like with the gas tank molded into the frame. Like I wanted to do the fender molded into the frame, and I'd feel really bad doing that to like an original nice Harley frame because those are so hard to come by. Where this one, I'm like, whatever. I can goober weld all over this. I can add whatever I want to it. I can slap body filler all over everything and not feel like I'm like ruining a piece of history. So. Chris Graves rebuilt the motor and transmission. Both of the front motor mounts were broken completely from the wreck. So like the tabs were just completely shattered off, and it looked like they were already broken before, but the wreck just like completely broke them off. And he had to do like a full number on it. It needed everything. Like it's the standard bore, all that jazz. Same thing with transmission. That was also really goobered up and crazy and weird. So Chris had to spend a lot of time to get these into the state that they're at now. So this is from the wreck. These are the same heads. And then the cylinders are just the twin cylinders that I got powder coated silver because I wanted like a fully silver motor. I think those look really nice. But I wanted to keep those scratches on just because I thought it was fun to see little memories from the wreck. So these guys are just like the Prism Supply, slingshot, brake mechanical pedals. They're great. I had them on my old bike before and I really liked them a lot. I added these little trim pieces, drawing some inspiration from HF Craig. He was in Built Well's People's Champ. He did something really similar to this and I thought it just looks really sleek and clean. Plus it adds some extra kind of grip to these pedals in case your feet are wet. First time making exhaust. Did that here in the garage, just trying to see what flows and makes sense for this type of thing. It was just like one of the like pipe kit, and then I just kind of hacked up all the pieces. I made the pan. A lot of help from Ian Olson on like how to make a good seat pan because he's made so many of them. And then I dropped it off to Dave Coppa and he did the stitching padded on the top. I sent a photo of this, like the bare foam, to my girlfriend, and I was like, I don't know, just draw whatever you want that kind of matches the lines and stuff that I have going on. And then she just doodled these lines on top of the pan, sent that to Dave, and then it came back 2 weeks later exactly like the lines on the drawing. It was crazy. He is something else. Yeah, it's incredible. I just like crushed it with this seat. It was great.
So the Sissy bar.
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
Part of it was like function, because I didn't like that on my old one. It was just a single bend and I couldn't like grab it really easily when I was trying to kickstart. That's why it has the bend facing the way it does, because I wanted to be able to hold it while I'm kicking and have a good thing to hold. And then I just wanted to do something different that was kind of asymmetrical, and it just sat down drawing a whole bunch of little shapes on my notes app, and then that's where I ended up. Just really just kind of doodling what I think looks good. I'm an engineer. That's my full-time jam. I've been working in like lighting, I guess, for now like 5 years. And with taillights, I was always like, it'd be cool to mix the dots of the LEDs into the design, because everybody always ends up trying to just diffuse over them, or they just like accept that there's LED dots there and it maybe doesn't look super great. And then I remember I got hit and I was like, I'm just gonna make a joke like rolling the dice if I'm riding this chopper, you know? I was like, oh, that's it. I'm like, that's it. I'll just make the dots on the dice the LEDs. And luckily one of my friends, he is like the smartest guy I've ever met. He's got like 2 or 3 engineering degrees and he's like a super genius, and his name is Emery. So I kind of floated the idea by him, and like over like a year, him and I just worked back and forth making this taillight that looks like a set of dice. So when it's off, it looks like ice cubes. And then when you turn the bike on, the dots are arranged in a way that it looks like a set of dice. So the drawing itself, like the actual line drawing, same thing, I can't take credit for that. That was Wayne Evans. He's like a friend, and he also does art, and he posted a set of dice that he drew, and I was like, oh, I really like that shape. So I asked him if it was okay if I used that shape for the dice. Prototype 0 right here, and it's held up great. I went down for the congregation show down in Charlotte, North Carolina with the Prism Supply boys. 3 days right before the show, I just didn't sleep, and I just put the whole thing back together in 3 days after yanking it out of my basement and painting. And then immediately loaded into the truck. My girlfriend drove it all the way down because like I said, I didn't sleep for 3 days. So she drove all the way down to Charlotte for us, and then finished assembling it at the show. I was lucky enough to win Prism picks. That was super cool.
Having built your first full-on pull out all the stops build.
Yeah.
You know, what would you say to someone that's thinking about doing the same thing?
Oh, just go for it. Just go for it. Like, give it a shot. Like, you know, there's nothing stopping you. I've never welded before. I've never painted before. You'll be surprised what if you just are open-minded and try and get advice from people that have done it a bunch. Like, keep your ears open and just try and listen to people's input that they're giving you and just go for it.